Okay, so for this Zoom tonight, I just wanted to do like a question and answer type thing. And a lot of you have already submitted questions on the 90-day push page. And so for those who have asked questions on there up until like 10 minutes ago, I don't know if there's any newer ones, but up until like 10 minutes ago, I looked on there and I've already like got some answers ready. And so I'll answer those, but if y'all have any other questions, feel free to like post them or whatever, but I don't know if I'll be able to see them because I'm on my phone. So Caitlin, if there's any of them, you may have to tell me what they are. So I don't know how that works, but okay. So one of the questions was like, what's a tip for signing loyal customers and distributors? And so I guess like, I don't really know like if there's like a specific way that's like you should do this and you should do that because it's different for everybody. But I feel like lately I've just been thinking about this and like a lot of people will say like I'm not good at signing loyal customers or I'm not good at signing distributors, and it's like their first couple of weeks in the business. And so I feel like a lot of times, or even if you've been in there longer, like I feel like a lot of times people say that they're not good at signing loyal customers and distributors because they've talked to them once and they don't sign up right away. And so they're like, they talk to somebody about becoming a loyal customer and they don't sign up right then. And they're like, oh, well, I suck at this. No, you don't. Because hardly any loyal customers or distributors sign up the very first time that you talk to them. I mean, think about whenever you started. Like some of us were loyal customers first. Did you sign up right whenever you first saw a post on Facebook or Instagram? Probably not. Did you sign up the very first time someone contacted you or that you contacted somebody about this? Probably not. So you have to give it time. You have to talk to them and you have to follow up with them. That's so important. So I know for me, whenever I first was introduced to the company, I saw Savannah McBroom post on Instagram about the wraps, and I saw this post like 3 or 4 times before I finally like realized what it was. Because at first I was like, "What is that? Like, why is she posting about stomachs on Instagram?" And so then I kept looking at her posts, and they like really caught my eye, and so I was like, "I want to know what that is." And so then I talked to her, and I was like, "Okay, well, I'll think about it." Then I talked to her again, and I was really interested, but then I was about to move. And so I wanted to wait until I moved to sign up as a customer. And so anyway, long story short, it took me like 3 or 4 times to talk to her to actually become a loyal customer. And then as a loyal customer, she contacted me about becoming a distributor, and it took her like 2 or 3 times to message me and reach out to me about it before I signed up. So don't get discouraged when you talk to somebody and they don't sign up right then, because I never get into a conversation with someone for the first time like with like the intention or the hope that they'll sign up right then. I always start a conversation. Like my goal for every conversation that I have is to find a date from them. It's to find a date that they are going to be ready to sign up as a distributor, that they will be ready to join as a loyal customer, because they're not going to sign up right away most of the time. Sometimes you'll get that like 1 in a like 100 who do, but a lot of times they don't. So just because they're not signing up right away, it doesn't mean that you're bad at it. It just means that you have to give it time. Like you have to follow up with them. And then in the follow-up is whenever you sign them up, most of the time, at least for me. So with that being said, another way that you can attract people to be interested in becoming a loyal customer or a distributor is consistency. And we talk about that so much in this business, but like really think about it, because if you are consistent, then people are going to think about you whenever they think about the company. This girl who I actually know her sister really well, they live in Mississippi where I'm from. So I haven't even hung out with her sister in years, but I'm friends with this girl on Facebook, and she's a little bit older than I am, and she has kids, and like she's never really liked any of my posts. I've never contacted her. She's never contacted me, whatever, about the business or the company or anything. So I didn't even really know that she was watching me. Well, then she started making these bracelets or something for like a business of her own, and she made an It Works one, and she sent it sent me a picture and said, hey, would you just let your team know that I'm making these if they're interested? And I was like, yeah, sure. That's really nice of you to think about me and think about my team like that. And she was like, oh, yeah, for sure. Whenever I made them, you were the first person I thought about. And I was like, oh, really? And she was like, yeah, anytime I think about it works, I think about you. And so that's the kind of consistent that you want to be. And you may think that, like, you're bugging people, but she's never liked my post. She's never been interested in the products. Not know if she'll ever order, and she probably won't ever become a distributor, but that's okay. And even if she was annoyed, I don't care because she's not paying my bills. And so be consistent because people are watching you. Even if they don't like your posts and even if they're not interested, they're watching you. And you want people to think about you whenever they think about a product or about the business. Like, you want them to associate you with that, and consistency is the way to do it. Okay, and then I'm looking at my notes so that I can make sure I talk about everything. There's actually a video that I was going to share with y'all, like let y'all listen to, but I'm on my phone and the video's on my phone. So I can't really do that, but I'll post it in the 90-day challenge. And it's a video that one of my team members sent me, like, to enter the 90-day challenge, like why she wanted to do it. And her video was her telling me, like, you know, I watched you from November until she joined in July last month. So she watched me that whole time, and I literally never saw her like my posts ever. And so she was just saying, like she looked forward to seeing my posts and stuff like that. And so I was going to share that with y'all as an encouragement to show you that people really do pay attention and that it is important. But I'll post that later. Okay, and then, like, on my Instagram too, like, what I do to, like, interest people and to get people to notice my page and to notice my posts, I don't post all about It Works. You probably have heard this before, but even my It Works posts aren't always, like, blatantly It Works. Like, a lot of them will be a quote, like a motivational quote, and it'll say, like, you know, never give up. And I say something like, you know, this quote really means a lot to me because whatever you're doing in life, whether you own a business like I do or whether you're, you know, in a job or at school, just never give up. Don't let quitting be an option for you, blah, blah, blah. And so it's like about It Works because I mentioned that I'm in a business, but it's not blatantly that. And it's just encouraging. It's just like a motivational type post. And so a lot of people respond really well to those. And they, you know, I'll message people on Instagram and I'll ask them if they're interested, and they'll say, you know, no, I'm not really interested, not right now anyway, but I love seeing your post every day. They're like, I look forward to seeing your post. And, like, that's how you want to be. Even if they're not interested, like, your main goal is to help people. And if your posts help people better, more than the products would, then that's okay. And so you just have to be, like, okay with it not being for everybody, and just reach out to as many people as you can, and make your posts fun. Don't make them all about It Works. Make them exciting, make them positive. Just be like a positive, motivational person. Just be encouraging to people because there's so much negativity out there. People, even if they're not interested in the business, they're going to, like, gravitate towards you more because you're so positive. And people love positivity, that they are drawn to those people. So that's how I connect with a lot of people. And then later they become loyal customers or distributors because I become their friend. Another way to sign what?
Oh, sorry. We had a question about what you post on Instagram. I just knew you couldn't see it, so I was going to tell you really quick.
Yes, thank you. Okay. What I post on Instagram.
If you post your 3-3 rule. Sorry if I made you lose your train of thought.
No, you're fine. I have notes, so I'm good. Yeah, I usually do the 3-3 rule. I try to do, like, the 3-3 rule for me sounded really overwhelming at first until I saw a video that Jade Hooper did, because she, I think, came up with the 3-3 rule, which is 3 business posts a day and 3 product posts a day, if you don't know what that is. But then she, like, dumbed it down. She literally said the exact same thing, but the way that she said it this time made it make more sense and made it sound a lot easier. And she was like, post about the products in the business morning, noon, and night. I was like, oh, okay. So every day before lunchtime, I post about the products in the business. So, and I do that again at lunch, and then I do that again, like, around dinner time. But, like, specifically what I post, in the morning, I'll usually do, like, a motivational quote, like, you know, good morning, like, it's time to take on the day, and, like, you know, like, set goals for yourself today, and, like, I don't know, just something, like, exciting and, like, motivational for whenever people wake up. That's something that they can see. And that'll be like a business post. About the products, I always post a hair, skin, and nails picture in the morning. I don't know why. I just have recently and that's like one of my really good sellers. And I think it's because I consistently post about that specific product. At lunch, that's usually right around the time I go to the gym. So I'll post about, drinking my greens on the way to the gym. And then I post a business post saying I'm glad I don't have to wake up early, or I try to switch it up a lot. But then later in the afternoon, I'll just post about whatever I'm doing that day and say that's my office for the day. And some of you who don't do this full time are like, well, I can't do any of that. Yeah, you can, because you have days off. And so you can say, on my days off, this is my office and I'm still getting paid. And it can be a picture of you playing with your kids outside or whatever. So get creative, think outside the box. It doesn't all have to be like, I'm looking for 3 people to join my team. Show people that you're having fun. So that's kind of what I try to do. And people will message me, people on Instagram lately have been noticing, since I've tried to post that way, they'll message me back saying things like, I love your post. Your life looks so fun. They'll say you're really motivational. You're really encouraging. I look forward to seeing your posts, just stuff like that. And so that shows me that they're noticing my posts. And I do the airplane mode thing. I'm not going to get into all of that and how to work Instagram, because Sydney did one of those trainings. And so you can go back and look at that, because it was really good. And she's really good at that. But I do the airplane mode thing, which I'll probably already know about. And if not, go back to that video. But I use that, and I honestly just look at my Instagram profile, where it shows all of my pictures in the little squares all together. And I look at what should be a good next picture. It's hard to explain, but if a lot of them have been kind of dull, then I'll add a really colorful picture that I have on my airplane mode. And so I don't really do it by what it says. I do it by the way that it looks, because a lot of them have commented that they love going to look at my page because of how it looks. And then they go and read my post because of that. So I don't even know if that's a good tip, but that's what I've been doing lately. And a lot of people have noticed. So I don't know, but that's kind of what I post. I don't know if y'all want me to be more specific, but that's kind of it. I do have my Instagram on private though, because I'm really I don't know. I've had a lot of poachers in the past, none from this team obviously, but so I keep it on private. So I'm really iffy about who I add on there. So, but I post a lot of the same things on Facebook. So if y'all go follow me on Facebook, you can see a lot of the types of posts that I make. Okay. Okay. And then another thing, y'all just let me know if there's any other questions, but if not, I'll just keep going. This is still on the how to sign loyal customers and distributors. So be excited, because if you don't care, then they're not going to care. A really cool thing that I like to do is I ask people what their goals are. People will say, I'm interested in the 90-day challenge, because it's on my post about it. Or they'll say, I'm interested in the ThermoFit. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Well, what are your goals? Because if their goals are to have a flatter stomach, the ThermoFit may not be the best option for faster results. They may want the wraps instead. But if they're going to lose weight, but they want to lose weight, but they're interested in the hair, skin, and nails, then they may not want the hair, skin, and nails right away. They may want to use a weight loss product. And so try to talk to them about their goals, and I ask them, well, what are you eating every day, to see if fat fighters may be something that they'd be, able to use, because if they're eating salads all the time, they don't really need fat fighters. So I try to just talk to them about what they need and their needs and their goals. So I try to find a product that fits them and not me. So if, I need 54 in volume or whatever, and their goal is to grow out their hair, then I'm going to tell them hair, skin, and nails. I'm not going to tell them to go get wraps because that's how much volume I need. I'm going to tell them hair, skin, and nails because that's what they're going to love. And so just find a product that fits them. Be very selfless in your conversations and show them that you care about them. Be excited. Tell them how awesome these products are. I feel like sometimes people shy away from the pricing of the product, and they're like, well, how do I tell them how much the price is, and how do I talk to them about that? And I always lose potentials whenever I talk to people about the pricing, they'll be excited. Like, show them how amazing the discount is. And then they're not going to question whether or not that's a good deal. They're going to know that it is. For example, like if somebody's, asking you about the hair, skin, and nails, and they're like, well, how much is it? And you're like, well, it's $33. I know that's a lot. It's a lot more than Biotin, blah, blah, blah. Like, don't say any of that. Like, don't shy away from it. Be confident. So usually what I say is like $55 for, a month's treatment, but it's only $33 whenever you do the 90-day challenge. They'll always ask me what the 90-day challenge is. And I say, just agree to have a product shipped to you for 2 additional months and you get my discount. And then sometimes they'll be like, well, I don't really want to have a product for, I don't want to agree to have a product for 2 additional months. And I'll say, okay, that's fine. So if you want to today, you can pay $55, but you're going to be paying almost double for just one bottle instead of half the price for like you could pay the same price for like 2 bottles if you did it with the 90-day challenge. And I said, and I understand that you may not like the product, like that may be something that you're worried about, whatever. But you can always change your product. Like, you don't have to get the same thing every month. And I always show them my results. So it's so important to run your auto shipment, to be using the products yourself, because I always like reassure them. And I'm like, I understand, like, it's a risk or whatever. That's how you think of it. But look, these are my results. And these were just with 2 bottles of hair, skin, nails. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's you. And I'm like, yeah. So like, obviously they work, because if they work for me, they can work for anybody, because I was the biggest skeptic ever. And then I tell them my story. So I try to relate to them a lot and like ask them, like if you don't want to order, like why not? Is it the price? Is it because you're scared that it doesn't work? Here's my results. So just try to talk to them, like just be a friend to them. Don't be scared to answer their questions. Just be confident. Okay. Is there another question? I thought I heard somebody like off of mute. Nope. Okay. So the next one, let's see. I think the next question was like, how do you inspire your team? And the girl said that her chart was falling apart. Okay. So what I do to inspire my team, obviously, I like how y'all said inspire instead of motivate, because I think we've kind of pounded it into everyone, and it's been pounded into me that you can't motivate your team, you can only inspire them. So that was really cool to see everybody say, like, how do you inspire your team? So I don't really have to preach much on that, but you can only inspire them, you can't motivate them. But what I do to inspire my team, or I try to, is I just show them what I do every single day. We have a little team chat that I use because my team is pretty big. I'm a diamond leader, and so I have quite a few people on my team, and so I usually try to send something in the morning, like a verse or like a motivational quote, and I'll just tell them, like, let's go out there and get it today. Like, yesterday may not have been your day, but today is an exciting day, and like we're gonna do so good today, and like blah blah blah. Another thing that I saw on a Jocelyn Yates Periscope or something, like it's a video that she did, and she was talking about how whenever you sign up somebody, screenshot it and show your team what you did. And so anytime I sign up a loyal customer, I'll screenshot, well, not every time, because that would be a lot, but like sometimes, like whenever it's like a good conversation, or it's somebody who I followed up with for, the like 15th time, and they finally signed up, and just to show them what I said and to show them what they said and then what I responded, just to kind of show them like how simple it is and the kind of words that I use. Not that there's like a magic to the words necessarily, but just to kind of show them like, this is what I'm doing. And I signed up a loyal customer. And so that kind of motivates them, like, oh, well, she's doing it, so I should be doing it too. It shows them that you as a leader are working. You're leading from the front, and you're showing them how to do exactly what you did. So I like to screenshot that and like send that to them sometimes. And same thing with the distributor. And then for hopefully the girl who asked this is on here, but you said that your chart was falling apart, and just know that other people's charts fall apart too. I know that probably doesn't make you feel any better, but just know that my chart's fallen apart before. And I think pretty much every person in this business has had that happen to them. If they're like at a higher rank, probably like had somebody in their team quit, or a whole leg that just fell apart completely. So I guess the biggest advice I can like give to you in that situation is you can't pull them. Like, you can't make someone stay. And the time that you spend trying to get them to stay is time that you're wasting on somebody else you could have been trying to like sign up and help. Because you can't motivate them, you can only inspire them. And if they're not motivated on their own, then they're not going to be motivated. And you have to know when to let them go, and you have to know when to, encourage them and like push them a little bit. But then if they're, thinking about quitting, they've already quit. So if they're coming to you and they're like, I just, this isn't for me, then, I'll probably try like maybe one time to be like, I think you should stick it out. Like, you haven't given it long enough or whatever. Like, you were doing so good. So like, why are you wanting to quit? I try to encourage them, but then if they're like, I don't want to do this, I'm like, okay, like, what else am I going to say? Like, there's nothing that I can say at that point to get them to stay. And so anything that I say is just wasted breath, and I could be spending my time signing up a customer, helping a distributor. Like, I could be using my time more wisely than trying to pull people along. So they say run with your runners, walk with your walkers, and wave to everybody else on the sidelines, because you don't have time to pull them. So just, I know in those times, like especially in promotion months, like whenever you're like really, really trying to like promote, you're almost there, you just need volume, whatever. In those months, I feel like we can try to manage our teams. I know in the past I've done that. And like what I mean by managing your team is you're messaging them every single day, like, how many distributors have you signed up? Do you have any potentials? Do you have any loyal customers? And like sometimes it's okay to to send those things. I do that to my leaders sometimes to like figure out my chart and like to help them with their promotions and that type of thing. So like it is important to talk to them and communicate with them, but you don't want to manage your team. You don't want to try to, like be harsh or whatever. So I feel like in those times, like we can get into management mode and we can be so focused on our team and what our team is doing, what our team is not doing. And we lose focus on what we are doing. And so stop looking at your team, and if they're completing their steps to success, start looking at yourself. And if you're completing your steps to success, because if you are, they will. And if you are leading from the front, then they're going to follow you. Because if you're just sitting still watching them do everything, then they're not going to do anything. And you're going to be frustrated, and then they're going to be upset, and they're going to be, annoyed because you keep breathing down their throats and all this stuff, or breathing down their necks, breathing down their throats. That's awkward. Anyways, so it's like CPR. Okay, so anyway, don't manage your teams. So just do what you're supposed to do. Stay excited. Like, who cares if a leg is falling apart? Like, just rebuild it. And I know that may like sound like it's really easy for me to say, but in January, I was blocked in for Diamond. I was blocked in for Diamond from August 2015. And I didn't go Diamond until February of 2016. And so I was blocked in for that whole time. And in January, right after the cruise that we went on in December, I was like fired up. I was like, heck yeah, I'm going Diamond in January. And then my Ruby for my Diamond quit, and her whole leg fell apart. And so in at conference, whenever they announced that the Double Good was back, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Like, it doesn't matter that leg fell apart. I can sit here and I can complain and I can whine and I can, be frustrated about this, or I can just work. And so I worked, and I built a whole other Ruby leg and got them to Ruby in a month and went Diamond in February. And so, not saying that you're like complaining or whatever, but I'm just saying like you have the choice when that happens to either sit there or to work and to do something about it and just to keep moving. So be a professional replacer and just work your business so consistently that as soon as somebody quits, it doesn't matter, because you have somebody right there joining to replace them. And let's see, there's something else. Don't let negative people bring you down. There are going to be people on your team who complain all the time, or who constantly say like, this isn't for me, this isn't working, why isn't this working, blah, blah, blah. Like, just being really negative people. Just don't let those people bring you down, because negativity is so contagious, but so is positivity. And so if you continue to be excited and you continue to be positive, it's going to outweigh all that negativity. So just don't listen to it. I just try to tune it out. Another thing really quick that I just kind of want to talk about is like celebrate every single accomplishment on your team. that's something that's so huge for inspiring your team and like continuing to keep them excited. So for example, like for my team, if somebody on my team texts me and they're like, I just signed up a loyal customer, then I like literally get so excited. Like they get a text back from me in all caps. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. Like I'm so excited for you. And because one, they're helping people. They are helping that loyal customer or that distributor that they signed up have a better life, whether it's through the products or through the business. So to know that you're helping people and that you're a small part in that is huge. So get excited. And then like even if signing up a loyal customer isn't that big of a deal to you, because you're like Sabrina, who signs up like 50 loyal customers a month. She's crazy good at that. And, but your team member texts you in the middle of the month and you've already signed up like 25 loyal customers. And they're like, I got a loyal customer. Like that may not seem like a big deal. You're like, okay, like big whoop, I already got 25, but that's a huge deal to them. And you can either crush their spirit by saying like, okay, cool. Like, or you can like run with them and get so excited with them. And so I try to pump them up. Like I literally act like they have walked on the moon whenever they send me those things, because they send it to me because they wanted me to be excited with them. And so, I'll be excited with them and I will like shout them out on the team chat that we have. And I just get so excited because that's huge. And that's one step closer that they are to, putting food on their table or buying diapers for their kids or whatever. So celebrate every single accomplishment, and that's going to keep people really excited. And a lot of times, like, whenever I show people that I've signed up a loyal customer and like how I've done it, it's not a big deal to them. And they're like, okay, well, there she goes again, like sign up a loyal customer. Because I do sign up a lot of loyal customers and distributors, but I'm a diamond leader and like I do this full time, and like a lot of them can't relate to that. But whenever they see that, Jennifer, whoever, just sign up a loyal customer and she works full time and she has kids like they do, and she just joined this business the same month that this person did, that person would be more encouraged by seeing that Jennifer signed up a loyal customer than they would by seeing that I did. And so just making sure that you keep that motivation and that like excitement going, it's going to help to motivate everybody. And so that's another thing that I thought about too. Okay. Let's see. I think I didn't write down the questions, which was kind of dumb. I just wrote down the answers. But I think they asked like how to sign up loyal customers and distributors. We already talked about that, but I don't remember what the question was, so I'll just tell you what my answer is. Whenever I talk to potentials, I get to know them. So my typical conversation with a distributor, like if we're talking to him, I kind of follow the same like script type of thing, just so that I can stay on track with what I want to tell them and make sure that they get the information that they need, and so that I sound really confident because I know what I'm going to talk about, and so that I don't like word vomit all over them and tell them way too much. So I have like this kind of script-ish thing that I follow. But if they're telling me, like if I tell them what the business is and they're like, well, I'd love to join this because I go to school. Well, I don't say like, okay, cool, so are you ready to join now? Like I'll say, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Where do you go to school? And then they'll tell me, and I'm like, well, what are you studying? And then they'll tell me, and I'm like, do you play any sports? Like, what else do you do? Do you work? Do you have a job? And like, I just get to know them. And so before anybody signs my team, I usually know if they're in school, if they have kids, what their kids' names are. Like, I want to get to know them because I want to create a friendship and a bond with them. Because if they're not going to be a distributor, they're going to be a friend. And so, or both. And so I always try to get to know them, and I create a bond and relationship so we don't have to just talk about it at work, so we can talk about life. And so that way, if we get to a point where they stop responding and I follow up, it's a friend that's following up with them. It's not just some girl from It Works that's annoying from Instagram. It's a friend, and they're much more likely to respond to me whenever I do that. If I have texted them, like if I've followed up with them and they didn't respond, I don't like to send 2 messages in a row. I don't know why, but I don't like to send 2 messages that they haven't responded to my last one. I won't send another one. I'll just send something like, hey, I'm thinking about you today. I really hope you're having a great day. And I'll try to go look on their Instagram and see like what they're doing, and say they're on vacation in Florida. And I'm like, I'm thinking about you today. I really hope that you're having an awesome time in Florida. I love seeing your pictures. Talk to you soon. And so they know that, like, I'm thinking about them, that I actually care about them, that it's not all about the business. Like, it's not just what I have to gain from this. It's a true friendship. And, like, I actually do care about them. And so if they do respond, I'll try to bring up the business somehow. Or if they don't respond, then they at least know that I care and I'm consistent. And so I constantly follow up with them. And sometimes it just takes time. Like, some people it takes 2 times following up with them and then they join. Sometimes it takes 20 times for them, to see your post and for you to follow up with them and be a friend to them and be consistent for them to join. So every person's different, and don't think that, because so-and-so joined on the second time that, that all of them should join on the second time, and just because they hadn't, like, you failed and you should stop following up with them, because every person's different. So it takes time. And then I think it was Carly Hardiman that asked this. And so sorry I forgot your question. But she said, like, what are the best follow-up messages, I think. And I honestly don't use scripted follow-up messages. And so it takes me a while to do my follow-ups. But I don't like to use, like, scripted ones just because they sound scripted. And I don't want them to think that I'm just copying and pasting a message to them. I want them to know that I genuinely am asking if they want to be a product tester or if they want to join my team. And so I'm trying to be really, really personal with them. I tell them things like, you're the first person I thought of. As soon as I, like, was thinking about this, like, you're the first person that came to my mind. Are you interested? I ask them how they've been. I don't always just jump into asking them about the business or the products. You just kind of have to feel it out and just see what's right for you and just take time, because it does take time to, like, figure out the way that you do it. But there are people too. If somebody tells me, like, for example, like, I try to think of ways to be personal. So a couple of examples, I've talked to a person before on Instagram and I'm like, would you be interested, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, I'm only 17. And I'm like, okay, well, when do you turn 18? And then they'll tell me, in June, like June 7th. Okay. And so then I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'll talk to you later. And, like, whenever you turn 18, I'd love to talk to you more about this. I write down on my calendar right then, June 7th, so-and-so's birthday. So then on June 7th, I'm going to message them and I'm going to tell them happy birthday, because I'm going to let them know that I care about them and that I'm thinking about them. There's a girl on Facebook that I'm following right now, and she just posted, like, earlier a few days ago, that she, like, was asking for prayers for something on Monday, which is tomorrow. I don't really know what. But on my calendar tomorrow, I'm going to message Brandy and I'm going to ask her, like, hey, I hope everything's going well. Praying for you today. I know that you have this big thing coming up. I don't really know what it is, but I'm praying for you and I'm thinking about you. And so I'm really going to pray for her and I'm really going to think about her. And so just being personal and letting people know that you care goes a long way. A girl that I was talking to as a potential distributor wasn't very interested, but her sister got engaged today. So I messaged her today and told her that, I was excited for her sister and that I hope she's having a good time at Mississippi College, because that's where she goes. And so just try to be really, like, consistent with that, because they're going to remember that. They may not remember that you're the It Works girl. Hopefully they will. But they may not remember what the greens are or how much their hair, skin, and nails are, but they're going to remember how you made them feel as a person. So always try to make them feel like they're important and like you care and like they matter to you. So that's how I do my follow-ups and whatever the other question was. Was there another question? I thought I saw something pop up. No? Okay. Okay, another one said that they didn't have, like, a very big warm market and to sign up loyal customers and distributors, since they don't have a very big warm market. So first of all, I want to say that use your warm market to find your cold market. And some of you may not know what a warm market and a cold market is, so I'm going to explain that. So a warm market is people that you know, people that you're friends with, family, whatever, people that you know joining, like, whenever you join this business. And then cold market is people that you don't know. So your warm market, friends and family, whatever, I feel like a lot of people say they don't have a very big warm market because they feel like everybody in their warm market doesn't want it. And so they discount it and they diminish their warm market. They say that it's smaller than it really is. But what you can do is, first of all, don't assume that people don't want what we have. Some of the people that I thought about messaging and I was like, no, they would never want this, I'm not going to message them, are the people who came to me months down the road. So if I had contacted them, then it would have been a quicker process probably. And so don't assume that people don't want it. So even if you say that people in your warm market don't want this or don't need this, you have no idea. So don't ever count people out. Always, always, always ask them anyways. And then the worst thing they could do is say no. And then you say, okay, cool. Do you know anybody else who does? And then they're going to give you a list of names possibly of people who you could talk to. And that's your cold market. So now you're expanding your people who you can talk to. And you've asked that person, and even though they said no, you've planted that seed, and now if they think about that product, they're probably going to associate you with it, and they're probably going to come to you when they are ready. Okay, and then so let's say you've exhausted your warm market. You've talked to everybody, they're all customers, they're all distributors. If they're not, you should be following up with them and still being consistent in your posting. And unless they tell you specifically, no, don't ever talk to me again. I don't want these. I'm not interested. Then that's fine. Otherwise, use social media. That's one of the huge ways that we can grow our business, through Instagram and through Facebook. I'm not going to get into how to work those because there's so many trainings out there already, and that's not really what this is. But use Instagram, use Facebook, be consistent in posting that, because you literally have the world at your fingertips when you're on your phone and your computer. So use Facebook, use Instagram. I have videos on my YouTube. If you look up my name on YouTube, you'll be able to find my channel, and you can look up different stuff on how to work Instagram and Facebook. When I first joined this company, I had just moved across the country. I'm from Mississippi originally, and I moved to Michigan in May 2 years ago. And then I joined this business in October. So I'd been here for a little bit, but that whole entire time I was a nanny. And so I did not have friends really. I had some people that I went to church with, but that's it. I didn't have coworkers. I didn't have family here. I did not have a very big warm market at all here. And the week that I started this company is the week that I started going to school. And so whenever I went to school, I talked to people because I was like, I don't know anybody here. So I'm going to talk to people, and I'm going to talk to them about the business. So I wore my It Work shirt to school a lot, and a lot of them have become customers because I kept talking about it. And I would take my greens, and I would drink my greens, and I would have my energy drink, and I would drink those in class, and people would ask me about them. And so use that. Take an energy drink with you everywhere that you go, and people will ask you what it is. Wear your shirt. That's an easy conversation starter. A lot of people will say what works, and you get to tell them, you're like, oh my gosh, you've never heard of It Works? That's crazy. And then you tell them what it is. So blitz people. And whenever I say blitz people, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. I don't usually go up to people and say, have you tried that crazy rap thing, and throw a blitz card in their face? But if that works for you, then do that. Keep doing whatever works. But what I usually do is I try to listen, and I try to be a friend. So really quick, I'm going to tell you a really quick story of how I met one of my best friends. So I just moved up here. Like I said, I'm not from Michigan. I hardly had any friends, but they opened a new store called Tilly's in the mall. If you've never been to a Tilly's, it's so cute. It's kind of like a PacSun, but better. And I loved that store. And so I kept going in there, and over and over and over again, I'd just go in there and I'd look, and I'd buy a couple things and I'd look. And so I went in there so often that this girl named Shelby, would always come up to me. They're so nice in there. And she would come up to me and she'd ask me, how I was doing. And we'd start a conversation. But I paid attention to her. And one day I went in there, and she walked up to me and said, hey. And I was like, did you dye your hair? And she was like, yeah, I did. And so I watched her. I was her friend. And so I made sure that I paid attention to her, and I noticed that she dyed her hair. And because of that, we got into a conversation. She, I started talking to her about hair, skin, and nails. She told me that she had heard of it, and she actually thought about being a distributor before. Long story short, she stopped messaging me back. She added me on Facebook. She quit responding to my messages about hair, skin, and nails, but I was still consistent in, talking to her at Tilly's and, just being a friend and posting on social media. And so one day she messaged me and asked if we could go to coffee. And so we went to coffee, and now she's a distributor on my team. She's blocked in for Emerald. We're best friends, and she's getting married next week. And I was at the bachelorette party last weekend. And so just be a friend to people. That's how you can contact people. That's how you can get people to join your team. And even if she wasn't on my team, she's an awesome person. We'd be friends. So that's kind of how I look at blitzing. And so I just try to bring it up by listening to people and by watching people. And so let's see. Oh, another way to like contact your cold market too is to interact with them. On Facebook, you can create lists on Facebook, like categorizing people, and you can actually like change your news feed to a separate list. And if you don't know how to do that, Jocelyn Yates has a video that explains it really well, and she shows you. So I'm not even going to try to do it without showing you, but look that up on YouTube. And it's a really cool video, but if you put people into lists, you can just go to that news feed, and I'll just go through and I'll like and comment on all of those posts because it's a potential distributor and potential loyal customer list. And I can, go to somebody who I think that would be a really good customer or a really good distributor, and I will go to their follow options and I'll put see first. So that I can see their post first. As soon as I hit my news feed, if they've posted something, it's going to pop up. And so that I can be the first person to like it or be one of the first people to comment on it. And then they'll start seeing my posts more frequently, and then we can become friends. And then I can reach out to them about the products and the business. So just be personal. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, don't just randomly message people. Be personal. And if you do cold message someone, it needs to be somebody who has liked your post. They've been interested in the business. They've contacted you or shown interest in your business or whatever somehow, or you become friends. And so whenever I message somebody, I will usually put their name in there. It'll be a tailored message just to them. Like, I'm not going to copy and paste it, and I'm going to talk about something about them. I'm going to give them a compliment. I'm going to tell them I like their pictures of Hawaii because I saw that they just went. I'm going to talk about how, congratulations on your graduation last weekend. Like, I'm going to show them that I'm paying attention to them. I'm not just randomly messaging them. So that's what I did today whenever I was messaging people. Okay, and I think that was kind of like all of the, oh no, that wasn't all the questions. Another question was, what do I do for my team's training whenever they sign up? Keep it really simple. If you do a really extensive, long training with a lot of stuff, then you could lose people and you can make them feel like it's really hard to duplicate what you're doing or something like that. And so what I have them do first is I, invite them and add them to Diamonds Are Forever, because that's going to help them build community right away. I add them to our team chat so that they can be encouraged. On my team chat, everybody's like, oh my gosh, welcome. They introduce themselves it's just like a big family, and I want them to get that at the beginning. So they don't feel like they're alone. Right after that, they do the eSuite training. They just look over the steps of success, and they have access to all of that later. So I tell them they can look over whatever they want now, and they'll have access to it later. I send them I send them one link to the Jade Hooper How to Talk to Loyal Customers video. It's really short and it's really helpful. I tell them to make a 40s list. We talk about hundreds list, but for somebody who just joined the business 3 hours ago, 100 people, it can seem really overwhelming, and that may make them feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. So I tell them to make a list of 40 people. I tell them, let's talk to these people about becoming a customer and distributor. Here's how. Do you think that'll work good for you? And I try to find out what's best for them, because I want this to sound like them, not me. I tell them to make a post, and in that post, for their very first post, they're going to tell why they joined. They're going to say they're excited, and they're going to post a picture of them and their family or whoever, and they're going to say why they joined this company, what they're doing it for. And I try to get them to do to message a couple of people before they post their status, because I saw in the Zoom training that Susan did with Courtney Lavey, how she was saying that, if you have people message people that they know, friends and family first, and they get a couple people that are excited and that say yes, that they'll help them, that they'd be interested in the products and the business, any flack that they get from a post that they may make in front of everybody won't matter as much, because they've already had a little bit of a success in messaging people. So I do that. And then I refer them to my YouTube channel, because it's got literally just the basic trainings on pretty much anything, like Instagram, Facebook, how to talk to customers, how to talk to distributors, how to get people to like your post on Facebook more, just different stuff like that. And they're all closed captions. So if y'all have any deaf distributors, refer them to my YouTube channel. I paid for them to have good closed captioning, so they are legitimate and they are accurate. And so then I just had them do that, and then we do group online parties. So that's pretty much it. And I try to keep it really simple, and then they always know that they can come to me for help if they need any help after that. And then that's pretty much it. Okay, so then just like 2 or 3 other couple of things that I wanted to throw in here. A lot of people get stressed out or discouraged because they don't sign 17 distributors a month, or however many distributors that you're trying to get. Like, you're not like a mass top enroller. And that's okay. If you get one distributor on your team every single month for 5 months, and that you only get one, okay? One distributor, but that distributor is a runner. They want this as badly or more than you do. And you do that one time. So you just sign one distributor every month for 5 months. Do you know that's all you need to go ambassador? So who cares if you sign up 30 distributors and none of them want to work? It doesn't matter, because you're still not even going to be close to getting a promotion, because none of them want to work and they're all going to quit. You're going to have to build their teams for them. So it's way better to get one really, really good, solid distributor who really, really wants this as badly as you do, instead of 30 distributors who don't. So don't get discouraged when you're not a mass distributor, enroller, or whatever. You want to have quality over quantity, and if you can have both, then that's amazing. But it's hard to get both. So don't get discouraged and don't get stressed out by the amount of distributors that you're enrolling. As long as they're good and as long as you can spend time with them to train them and to help them, that's all you need. Today, one of my distributors was talking to me, and she was like, yeah, this girl said she was going to sign, but she's going to text me today and ask you for my website, and she hasn't texted me, so I'm going to text her tonight. And I was like, well, whenever that happens to me, usually I don't text them again, because that kind of seems like desperate. So I try to just go through on their Instagram or their Facebook, and I'll just like a couple of their stuff. And so that kind of like puts my name back up on their phone, and they're like, oh yeah, that girl, I forgot, I was going to like sign up today. And then they'll message me usually after that. So I just try to like do that. So it's kind of like a incognito way to like be like, hey, are you going to order? Without like asking them, like, hey, where are you at? Because you don't want to sound desperate. Let's see. Watch training videos, guys. Join the trainings that we do. Obviously, y'all are on this training, so it's awesome. Susan does a lot of those Zoom trainings, and she puts a lot of time into them, getting those people on there for us, and they've been so helpful for me. Like, I just referenced a couple of them in this Zoom because they've been so helpful and life-changing for my business. And so join those. I can't stress enough how like helpful it is, because the same people who text me every single day and ask me, well, hey, how do I do this? Hey, how do I do that? They don't join the Zooms. And if they did, and if they like actively looked for different training videos pretty much every day, then they would know the answers to a lot of those questions. And so make sure that you're on the Zooms, make sure that you're on the trainings. Those are so helpful. And even if you can't get on them, watch the recordings. Most of them are recorded. So watch training videos, get ideas. Don't be negative. A lot of people that aren't signing up people are very negative, even whether you realize it or not. You say things like, like what can I do to grow my business? And then I give you like all these tips like I did tonight, and maybe you're sitting there and you're like, well, I've already done all of that. Or, like, I've already tried everything and it doesn't work. Nobody wants this. That breeds negativity, and that's infectious, and people will see that from you. But whenever you start changing that to be positive, and you're like, you know what, I've tried that before, but I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to try it again. Or I'm going to do that more often. Like, I already do that, but I'm going to do that more. And so if you try to do that and you talk to everybody that you know, if you're more positive, and that's going to come back to you. You get back what you put out. You attract that. So if you're putting out positivity, you're going to get positivity back. Same thing with negativity. So, if you've tried all of these things, maybe you are doing everything that I just said. Just do it more often. Talk to more people, That's how you're going to get to where you want to be. And then for follow-ups, I do the 2-2-2 rule, which kind of confused Caitlin whenever we were doing our 6 list. But the 2-2-2 rule is what Susan said, and it's just where I contact everybody every 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months after the day that I talk to them. So I had this a like planner that I use. And so today's August 14th. So everybody that I talk to on August 14th for the very first time, I'm going to write their name down. And I'm going to write down, like, if it's a Instagram name, it's going to put the @ symbol and then their Instagram name. And then it's going to say whether or not they're a potential loyal customer or potential distributor. They're a loyal customer, it's going to say what product they're interested in. And then if I get their number from Instagram, which I always try to do, I'll put TXT by it so that I know that I have them in my phone. And then I can text them instead of going to look up their Instagram. So then whenever I do that, so today's the 14th, so then I'm going to go back to the 12th. And I'm going to look at everybody I talked to on the 12th, and I'm going to contact them again. Ask them if they had any other questions is usually what I do. And then the 2 week, I'll go and contact them. So 2 weeks ago on Sunday, which is like the end of July, and I contacted them. And then on June 14th, everybody I talked to on that day, I contacted them too. So doing that, and then every 6 months after that. So 6 months ago, which would be February 14th. So everybody I talked to on February 14th, I'm going to contact them again. Just do that over and over again every single day. And it doesn't take that long to do. And it helps you to stay keeping up with people. It helps you to follow up. It gives you a timeline that you know that you're going to be contacting them again. So, yeah, that's how I'll do that. And just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just follow the steps of success and take it one loyal customer and one distributor at a time. Don't look at your whole entire chart for Ruby as a brand new distributor and be like, okay, well, I need to get 5 loyal customers and then I need to get them all to 400. So that I need about 20 loyal customers. Just one distributor, one loyal customer at a time, one life at a time, changing one life through the products and one life through the business at a time. And that's all you need to think about. And that's all you need to worry about, because if not, you're going to stress yourself out. You're going to overcomplicate the business and you're going to overcomplicate what you tell people. So that's all that I have. That was actually really long. I think it was going to be that long. So I'm sorry, but hopefully that helped.
That was awesome, Morgan. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.